Are you from Lamoni, and what brought you here if you're not from here?
I am originally, I guess, from Lamoni. I was born in Independence, Missouri. I spent the first 2 years of my life there, but then I moved up here when I was 2, so I didn't really know. My dad started to work at Graceland. He came from Cerner Corporation, um, and so we moved up here when I was 2, and I went to high school or elementary, high school, middle school, all the good stuff, and then I stayed and went to Graceland as well. And then after Graceland, I left for about 6 months, moved to Des Moines, a smaller suburb called Norwalk, um, and then I moved back here once I was able to get this job.
Growing up, what was your favorite thing to do for fun? Also, why did you enjoy said activity?
So my favorite thing to do for fun had to be just hanging out with friends, trying to figure out what kind of random things we could find out to do. We like to play capture the flag. We like to play Amazing Race. We like to do little scavenger hunts, things like that, just kind of all around town. So we just would dream up our own little things like that. We also like to hang out at the pizza shack. So we would just go have some pizza and just kind of talk. Just really bonding with each other was kind of what we did the most for fun. So we don't have too many big attractions or the big event centers or things like that, bowling, all that good stuff. We don't have things like that, so we just kind of tried to make our own fun with as much as we could, and tried to come up with stuff and be creative.
Did you receive an allowance, and if so, did you save your money or spend it?
There was a brief time where I did receive an allowance, but I'm not sure that it ever really amounted to much. Growing up, I think we were all just kind of expected to do our fair share of like the housework and things like that, and so we never. I don't know that we got a huge allowance if we ever got one. If I did, I was probably more of the saver. I've been kind of a saver throughout my life, so I figured I probably would have saved it. Not sure what I would have saved it for, but I probably would have saved it. So yeah.
So what is it that you do as a profession?
So I am currently the Community Center / Parks and Recreation Director. So I oversee the operations of the Community Center. We set up and schedule reservations for roughly 30 groups that like to meet in our building. We also those are regular meetings, and we also are able to rent the facility out to those who want to use it for just a weekend, maybe a special holiday, baby shower, some occasional wedding. So we just handle that. We also handle a couple different programs. One's called the Lamoni Wheels. We are the call center basically for a free ride share program. So people can call me, and then I can call some of our drivers, and then we're able to set up free rides all the way up to Des Moines for just about anyone. So that's more of my community center duties. I'm also the Parks and Rec Director, so I'm in charge of managing the parks, both Central and North Park, that being field maintenance, that being groundskeeping work. It's just me and one other guy who mows a lot up at the park, and so it's just really the two of us managing both parks. With that, I'm also in charge of the youth sports, so the registrations, the jersey orders, the splitting up the teams, the finding the volunteer coaches, scheduling, all that good stuff. That falls under me as well.
What is an aspect of the community you feel is underappreciated?
I think that we often say that we have a nice community feel, but it seems like we don't appreciate that very much. When, if you needed a ride to go somewhere, I'm sure we could find someone in a heartbeat to come take you to Des Moines or Kansas City at the airport, or we can find someone to watch your dog overnight while your daughter's sick or something like that. I feel like there's always a volunteer or someone that is willing to help out, and it doesn't cost anything, obviously, but it's pretty powerful when you feel comfortable asking just about anyone around town if they can help you out in some sort of way, and typically the response rate is really good on that, and so that's one of the things I'm pretty thankful for, is just everyone being willing to help out.
How do you think the community could go about changing that and using the community members more to like help themselves or help others?
I think that the best way to keep expanding on that would be just to keep getting to know each other. The more comfortable we are with each other, the better we can help, especially with those newer members that are moving into the community. They're often looking for things to do, direction of what goes on when, things like that. And so just being open and talking to them about those opportunities, and letting them know that the door is always open, letting them know that they can always be counted on when they're needed. I think the biggest, looking from the city perspective, I think finding a way to connect the elementary school, just the high school in general, the city itself, and then Graceland as well, finding a way to bring all three of those together to work together in a really good way. I think that Graceland offers a lot of resources that we as the city and the school don't have, but we also offer things that Graceland can't and that the school can't, and so just being able to kind of pool our resources together, not just from a money perspective, but also just a talent perspective or other resources, we can just all pool those together and make the whole city of Lamoni better.
How do you describe Lamoni to people unfamiliar with the area?
I think it kind of goes back to that community feel. There's always people that are friendly and welcoming everywhere you look. People say there's not often things to do here, but if you kind of dig a little deeper, you can find plenty of ways to fill your time, whether that's different clubs or groups or Graceland football or high school events or things like that. I feel like there's always seems to be something to do, whether you think there is or not. I think that Lamoni is a very safe community. You feel okay compared to other towns about walking around late at night, and then I think that's a big thing for a lot of the families that move here. They know it's a kind of a safe community, and they want to be a part of that. A lot of them work, and so they feel comfortable having their kid walk home from school, or they feel comfortable them walking home from a friend's house at night or things like that, and not having to worry about anything like that. So, especially compared to some of the bigger cities, that's obviously not the case. And so, it feels safe. It feels homey. It feels welcoming.
What is one thing you most want people to remember about Lamoni as we speed into the future?
I think that Lamoni is always open for change. I think that there's going to be a lot of development going on here in the future, whether that be new downtown businesses, new businesses in general, expansion of the airport, Graceland continuing to do their thing. The high school has been doing really well here of recently. just knowing that things are changing, and I think changing in a good way. And if you want to see the change, I think there's a lot of people willing to back that up with you, and I think that that's the best way to make those changes, is to have a support group of some sort and go out there and find the right people to make that change. And I think that Lavoni is very open to change, and so we're always looking for ways that things can be done better or ways to improve the quality of life around here.